A little boy hops on a bus and sits right behind the driver. Grinning, he starts chattering. If my mom was a hen and my dad was a rooster, I'd be a little chick. The bus driver sighs. Oh, great, one of these kids. The boy keeps going. If my mom was a cow and my dad was a bull, I'd be a little calf. The driver groans. Kid, please shut up. But the boy? Oh, he's just getting started. If my mom was a female elephant and my dad was a male elephant, I'd be a little elephant. The driver grips the wheel tighter. I said, shut up. Still, the kid doesn't quit. If my mom was a dog and my dad was a dog, I'd be a little puppy. The driver snaps. All right, kid, what if your mom was a waitress and your dad was unemployed? What would you be then? Without missing a beat, the boy smirks and says, a bus driver. The bus nearly swerves off the road. An advertising team is burning the midnight oil when, out of nowhere, a genie pops up offering each of them a wish. The copywriter says, I've always dreamed of writing the great American novel. I want to go to a tropical island to focus and write my masterpiece. The genie says, done. Poof, the copywriter is gone. The art director says, I want to create a painting so beautiful, it'll hang in the Louvre. Send me to the French countryside to work on it. The genie says, consider it done. Poof, the art director vanishes. The genie turns to the account executive and asks, and what is your wish? The account exec grins and says, I want those two arseholes back here right now. Who else can relate to this? An elderly couple is in bed. After a few minutes of silence, the old man lets out a fart and says, 7 points. His wife turns to him, puzzled, and asks, what in the world are you talking about? The old man grins and says, I'm playing fart football. A little while later, the wife lets one rip and proudly announces, touchdown, tie score. 5 minutes later, the old man farts again and declares, touchdown, I'm winning 14-7. Frustrated by losing, the wife lets out a big one and shouts, it's a tied game now. Feeling the pressure, the old man decides he won't lose. He strains with all his might, but instead of fart, he accidentally poops the bed. The wife hears the noise and asks, what was that? The old man calmly responds, that's the whistle for halftime. Switch sides. The chief of staff of the U.S. Air Force was fed up with the recruiting crisis, so he decided to take matters into his own hands. He ordered a nearby base to host an open house and invited all eligible young men and women. On the big day, as he stood proudly next to a brand-new F-15 fighter jet, he noticed 2 young men approaching. Identical twin brothers, both looking like they'd been sculpted straight out of a Marine Corps poster. Impressed, the general walked up, shook their hands, and said, gentlemen, welcome. What skills can you bring to the Air Force? The first twin stood tall and said, I pilot. The general lit up. Outstanding. Get this man processed immediately, he barked his aide, who whisked the first twin away like he was pure gold. Turning to the second brother, the general asked, and what about you, son? What do you bring to the Air Force? The second twin said proudly, I chop wood. The general blinked. Chop wood? Son, this is the U.S. Air Force. We don't need wood choppers. What else can you do? The young man shrugged. I chop wood. Now clearly annoyed, the general snapped. This is the 21st century, not a lumber camp. We don't need anyone chopping wood. The twin sighed, pointed toward his brother being escorted away, and said, well, dang, you hired him. He can't pilot till I chop it. A 90-year-old man named George goes for a health checkup, and all his tests come back with normal results. The doctor says, George, everything looks fantastic. How are you feeling mentally and emotionally? Are you at peace with God? George responded enthusiastically, oh, Doc, God and I are very close. He knows I have poor eyesight, so when I get up in the middle of the night to go to the bathroom, whoosh, the light goes on, and when I'm finished, whoosh, the light goes off. The doctor is amazed and replies, wow, George, that's really incredible. Later, Still astonished by what he's heard, the doctor decides to call George's wife, Margaret. He says, "George is doing great health-wise, but I had to call because I was so impressed by his relationship with God. He told me that when he gets up at night, the bathroom light automatically turns on, and when he's done, it turns off again. Is that really true?" There's a brief pause on the other end of the line before Margaret exclaims, "Oh no, he's peeing in the fridge again." There were these twin sisters, both turning 100 years old at St. Luke's nursing home. The local newspaper sent a photographer to snap a picture of the Century Club sisters. Now, one of the twins was hard hearing, but the other could still hear a pin drop. The photographer cheerfully said, "Ladies, could you please sit on the couch?" The deaf one turned to her sister and yelled, "What did he say?" Her sister replied, "He says to SIT on the couch." They shuffled over and sat down. "Now scoot a little closer," said the photographer. "What did he say?" "He says to scoot closer." So they wiggled up next to each other. "Perfect. Hold still for a second. I just need to focus," the photographer said. "What did he say this time?" "He says he's going to focus." The deaf twin's eyes widened, and she shouted, "Oh my God, both of you, S." A man walks into a pharmacy, buys a condom, then walks out of the store laughing hysterically. The pharmacist thinks this is weird, but hey, there's no law preventing weird people from buying condoms. Maybe it's a good thing. The next day, the man comes back to the store, purchases another condom, and once again he leaves the store laughing wildly. This piques the interest of the pharmacist. What's so funny about buying a rubber anyway? So he tells his clerk, "If this guy ever comes back, I want you to follow him to see where he goes." Sure enough, the next day the laugher is back. He buys a condom, starts cracking up, then leaves. The pharmacist tells his clerk to go follow the guy. About an hour later, the clerk comes back to the store. "Did you follow him?" "Where did he go?" asks the pharmacist. The clerk replies, "Your house." Two men waiting at the pearly gate strike up a conversation. "How'd you die?" The first man asks the second. "I froze to death," says the second. "That's awful," says the first man. "How does it feel to freeze to death?" "It's very uncomfortable at first," says the second man. "You get the shakes, and you get pains in all your fingers and toes. But eventually, it's a very calm way to go. You get numb, and you kind of drift off, as if you're sleeping. How about you? How did you die?" "I had a heart attack," says the first man. "You see, I knew my wife was cheating on me. So one day I showed up at home unexpectedly. I ran up to the bedroom and found her alone, knitting. I ran down the basement, but no one was hiding there either. I ran up to the second floor, but no one was hiding there either. I ran as fast as I could to the attic, and just as I got there, I had a massive heart attack and died." The second man shakes his head. "That's so ironic," he says. "What do you mean?" asks the first man. "If you had only stopped to look in the freezer, we'd both still be alive."